Sometimes a single moment can reveal the true depth of a person's heart, who they trust, what they value, and what they are willing to surrender. And in the ancient highlands of Moriah, one man faced a test so great that the world would still whisper about it. Thousands of years later, his name was Abraham, the friend of God. Abraham had waited decades for the son God promised him, the child through whom nations would be blessed. Isaac was laughter, hope, and future wrapped in a single life. But one dawn, everything changed. God called Abraham by name, and after Abraham answered, the command fell like a stone into his soul: "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and offer him as a sacrifice." The words pierced deeper than any knife could. Isaac, his miracle, his joy, his future. Why would God ask this? Why now? The questions raged within him. Yet Abraham obeyed without argument or hesitation. He saddled the donkey, gathered wood, and began the silent climb with Isaac at his side. For 3 days, Abraham walked with the weight of the unthinkable pressing on his chest. Isaac carried the wood, unaware of the storm surrounding his father's heart. "Father," he asked innocently, "where is the lamb for the offering?" Abraham swallowed hard. "God himself will provide the lamb," he answered, though he did not yet see how. When they reached the mountain, Abraham prepared the altar, each stone laid with trembling hands. Then came the hardest moment of his life: tying Isaac, his beloved son, and placing him on the wood. Isaac did not fight. The air grew still. Abraham lifted the knife, but before sacrifice could become tragedy, a voice broke through the silence. "Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy." God had seen his heart, his trust, his obedience, his unwavering faith. And there, caught in a nearby thicket, was a ram. God had indeed provided the lamb. Abraham and Isaac descended the mountain that day, forever changed. Their story became a symbol of mercy, trust, and a promise that God's plans are greater than human understanding. But this was only the beginning. Isaac would grow, marry, and raise a family destined to shape the future of nations. Yet even in that family, the echoes of Abraham's test would continue, through rivalry, blessing, divine choice, and a dream that would open the gates of heaven. And little did the world know, the next chapter would be just as dramatic. Isaac, now a grown man, carried with him the memory of that day on Mount Moriah, a moment that taught him the weight of covenant and the faithfulness of God. He married Rebekah, a woman chosen through a remarkable journey guided by prayer and divine providence. Their love was tender, but their early years were marked with silent yearning. Rebekah could not conceive. For 20 long years, Isaac prayed. Not once, not twice. Year after year, he lifted the same request to heaven. And God heard. Rebekah finally conceived, but the pregnancy brought confusion and pain. Something unusual stirred within her, a struggle she could not explain. She sought God, and he answered with words that would shape history. "2 nations are in your womb. 2 peoples shall be separated from your body. One shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger." Twin Esau and Jacob were born moments apart, yet worlds apart in temperament. Esau, the firstborn, emerged red and hairy, wild as the open country he loved. Jacob followed immediately, his tiny hand gripping Esau's heel as if refusing to be left behind. It was a sign, a whisper of destiny. Esau grew into a rugged hunter, impulsive, passionate, easily swayed by appetite and emotion. Jacob was thoughtful, strategic, and quiet, preferring the tents over the wilderness. Their differences soon became a stage for a divine plan already set in motion before their birth. Isaac favored Esau, enjoying the wild game his son hunted. Rebekah favored Jacob, sensing in him the one chosen for a greater purpose. The family was united in love, but divided by affection, and beneath their peaceful tents simmered a tension soon to erupt. The prophecy God spoke to Rebekah began unfolding in ways none of them expected. The older would serve the younger, but how would this happen? By strength, by blessing, by the unfolding mystery of God's design. As the boys grew, their rivalry deepened, every small conflict hinting that something larger loomed ahead. And one afternoon, in a moment of weakness, Esau would make a decision that would alter not only his own future, but generations after him. The stage was set. The choice was coming, but no one could imagine how one bowl of stew would change everything. And even after that, the story would twist further. Through deception, blessing, and a night filled with angels, the sun beat down on the tents of Isaac's household as Esau returned from a long, exhausting hunt. His clothes were torn, his throat dry, and hunger clawed at him like a wild beast. Inside the camp, Jacob stirred a pot of steaming red stew, lentils rich and fragrant. The aroma drifted into the air, catching Esau's attention immediately. Stumbling toward the fire, Esau gasped, "Quick, let me have some of that red stew. I'm starving." Jacob looked up, his eyes calm but calculating. This was a moment he had not planned, yet it arrived like an opportunity laid upon his path. "Sell me your birthright," Jacob replied quietly. Esau blinked in disbelief. The birthright, the honored position of firstborn, the double portion of inheritance, the leadership of the family? It was sacred. But Esau, careless with what mattered most, scoffed. "What good is a birthright to me if I die of hunger?" And so, with one rash decision, he traded destiny for a bowl of stew. Jacob served him, but the exchange lingered in the air like a prophecy fulfilled. The older had served the younger. The first step had been taken, but the birthright alone did not secure the full blessing. Isaac, now old and nearly blind, prepared to bless Esau before his death. He called for his eldest son and asked for a final meal of wild game, promising to give him the blessing of the firstborn. Rebekah overheard and remembered God's words. She called Jacob, her voice urgent. "Your father is about to bless Esau, but the blessing belongs to you. You must act now." Jacob hesitated. "But father will know. My skin is smooth, Esau's is hairy." Rebekah already had a plan. She dressed Jacob in Esau's clothes, covered his arms and neck with goatskins, and prepared the meal Isaac requested. Jacob approached his father with a pounding heart. Isaac, confused by the voice that sounded like Jacob but the hands that felt like Esau, hesitated, then finally spoke the words of blessing. Words that would shape nations, words that could not be undone. When Esau returned and discovered what had happened, a cry of anguish tore from his chest. Rage filled him. He vowed to kill Jacob. What began with a bowl of stew now exploded into a deadly feud that would force Jacob to flee for his life. But Jacob did not run alone. God's plan was unfolding, even through deception and conflict. And on the road to exile, Jacob would encounter something unexpected, something that would change him forever. The mountain of Moriah had revealed Abraham's faith. Now, a ladder stretching to heaven would reveal God's heart to Jacob. Night fell as Jacob escaped into the wilderness, leaving behind home, comfort, and the fury of his brother. The desert was silent, the path uncertain, and the weight of his actions pressed heavily on him. He had the birthright. He had the blessing. But now he had nothing else, no family, no safety, no future he could see. As darkness deepened, Jacob found a place to rest. Using a stone as a pillow, he lay down beneath the vast sky. Perhaps he expected only sleep that night, but heaven had something far greater waiting. In a dream, Jacob saw a towering ladder reaching from earth to the very throne of heaven. Angels ascended and descended, carrying out the purposes of God. At the top stood the Lord himself, and his voice broke through the dream with a promise that echoed the covenant given to Abraham and Isaac. "I am the Lord, the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie I will give to you and to your descendants. Your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and through you and your seed all nations will be blessed. I am with you and will keep you wherever you go." Jacob awoke with trembling awe. The place he slept was not merely a patch of wilderness. It was a doorway to heaven. He named it Bethel, the house of God. From that moment, Jacob's journey changed. He traveled to the home of his relatives, married, worked, struggled, and grew. God molded him through hardship and blessing alike. And over the years, Jacob became the father of 12 sons: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. These 12 sons would become the 12 tribes of Israel, a nation that would rise, fall, wander, return, and ultimately bring forth the one through whom all nations would indeed be blessed. Jacob, once the deceiver, became Israel, the one who wrestled with God and prevailed. His story was only the beginning of a far greater narrative, one that would sweep across centuries. Yet even now, questions linger. How would Jacob's sons shape the future? What trials and triumphs awaited the nation that was beginning to form? And which son's destiny would lead to the greatest promise of all? The story continues, deeper, richer, more breathtaking than anything Jacob himself could ever imagine. And those who follow these stories will soon discover the journey of Israel is only just beginning.